how to make a small weaving batch and finish a 12-string warp with Loome. What you need are your finished weaving on the 12-string warp, a tapestry needle, scissors, tacky or textile glue, a mounting piece. In this case, I like using this big safety pin, a small piece of felt measuring about 3/4 inch by 1/4 inch, and then you'll need an iron as well. Let's get started. Okay, so to finish your small weaving, we'll do the overcast stitching. So that's also in the other video as well, but basically what you'll do is you'll take your weft, go under one warp, under one weft. Oops. This is really, really fine, this yarn that I'm working with. Okay. I love finishing it this way, but there's also other ways to finish weaving as well. And you know, you could look up other resources as well. You could just vertically weave this, etc. But there's a lot of resources out there for weaving, which is fantastic. So to me, I love this because I feel like it leaves a really clean, finished look, and it's really works particularly well with the 12-string warp. Okay, so again, you go around and then behind the next warp and behind the next, under the next weft, and just wrap it around. In a lot of ways, it's like almost like finishing when you are sewing, you're stitching. There's actually also an overcast stitching in sewing. Okay, and now for that last warp, we're just going to vertically weave this in. So just, you don't have to actually go around. So this is what your finished top will look like. Okay, set your needle aside. Then you're going to undo the tape. And now with your scissors, you're just going to cut right under this flat area. Okay, and we're going to remove. So now what you'll have is this weaving with long ends on this side and long ends on this side. So these long ends on this side, and the bottom side, I'm going to tie it together so they become fringes. And this side, I'm just going to wrap over, and I'm going to use, this is kind of a nice shortcut, I'm going to glue a piece of felt to it so it looks like this. Okay, let me set this aside. And this part, I'm going to start vertically weaving in all of my loose ends here. So again, just a reminder, vertically weaving in means going over and under your warp thread with any of the loose ends. Okay. So this part can take a while, but it's always nice to clean up and finish your weaving. I think this is really satisfying. I always like to just cut after every single one because I think it's a good signal that I finished this, it's all cleaned up, I could move on to the next vertically weaving. Okay, so now that you have warped or vertically weaved in your last loose end, what we'll do now is we're going to actually iron this to actually have it fold down a little bit so it's a little bit easier to work with. So I'm just going to take a piece of cloth, get my iron, just going to iron that down. And what I'll do carefully is I'll fold this down. What I like to do is actually take the piece that I'm mounting it to and just insert it now while I can. You could do it afterwards as well. It doesn't have to be now, but I like doing it this way because then it's really just easier to work with. So you're just gonna press that down, literally 2 seconds, just to help you pull down all the pieces here. Now you're gonna just work like this. Now I'm going to take my glue and I'm actually going to take this felt piece that we pre-cut and it's just going to go on like this. The nice thing about working with felt too is that it's going to just provide an extra kind of firmness almost to your weaving as well. Didn't use so much glue, you don't need too much. Now I'm just gonna put this down. Again, I have my friend Leslie to thank for all these tips. She's just such a great weaver and she really has great ideas on shortcuts and what will work for different scale. All right, so now that that's mounted down, I'm gonna cut so that it's all short. Now what I'll do is I'm going to actually tie all these ends together. So I'm going to take two, one next to one another. I'm just going to tie. Working very, very gently always helps. Make a tight double knot. A pretty firm double knot, I should say. We'll iron that down again as well. Okay, so now that you have all your ends tied, the good thing to do also is bring back your iron and iron these down. Sometimes they're also okay too without ironing it down, just kind of depends on the thickness of your warp thread. Thicker one actually would just usually fall down. This one's pretty thin and it's a little bit on the stiff side, so it moves up slightly. I'm actually going to trim the ends so that they're even. I'm going to insert back my pin. I think these are so cute. They could actually be, you could pin them on your purses, on your jacket, put some enamel pins around it or some batches. They would be so great. And here is your small weaving batches with Loome.